What's up, summoners? King Blair here. Today for Top 5 Tuesday, we're actually going to be doing a little bit more of a funner one, and we're going to be doing the top 5 heroes that are OP in the lore, that are super strong, but in the game, they just don't live up to the expectations that you have of their unit. Now, I understand that the game can't just make all the god type characters into godly units and the human characters super trash, or the game wouldn't be that fun, right? But, capturing the essence and feeling the power is a big part of it. So that's what we're doing for top 5. So if you like the video, make sure you like, subscribe, and Discord server, link down in the description. If I missed a hero that you think should have been on this list, comment down below. And also, with all the lore details, you have to remember that a lot of this lore is not as easily accessible because it's either extremely long or it's just very hidden because they haven't rerun that particular storyline. So if I do get some stuff wrong, please let me know in the comments and I'll pin a comment with all the mistakes that I may have made so that other people are able to see them. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So again, before we start, obviously, there's going to be story spoilers. So if you're someone that doesn't want to get spoiled, I suggest you turn back now. You can still skip around through the list, but there's definitely going to be heavy spoilers if you haven't done the storyline and you really do care about that. If you don't really care much about the storyline, then we can just have some fun with it. But with that, let's jump right into the honorable mentions so you guys get an idea of how this video is kind of playing out and you guys get a better idea of it. So the first honorable mention is going to be none other than Destina. So the big thing about Destina is she is a spirit lord, right? She is this super strong entity. We talked about all the different gods and races in a different lore type video, but essentially she actually knows every time that the goddess Diche resets the world of Orbis, right? Because she's that strong of an entity. And that's why she looks like Ruel, because after Ruel died in the 6th world, Destina was like, man, that's kind of sad, I really liked Ruel, and she took her form, and that's how we got Destina, right? So she's supposed to be this super strong spirit lord power entity. And in the game, the animations definitely do make you feel like this person's really strong. But it doesn't really make you... She's not really strong at all. She doesn't do anything that's Spirit Lord worthy in the actual game. But I will mention, again, because of the storyline, she also doesn't really do much. So it's not fair to say she's bad because she never really does anything super Spirit Lord worthy either in the storyline. So yeah, that's why she's an honorable mention. But I kind of get an idea for those type of heroes. The one's going to be none other than Kron. The reason being why I think they did a really good job on his design to lore. And because at one point he was actually this strong menace, before Epic 7 kind of got out of hand with some of the unit power levels. But as far as Kron, he has the power of the Archdemon, right? The Archdemon gave part of his power so he could carry out his mission to bring the Archdemon to Orbis and just basically end the world of Orbis, right? This is supposed to be this super strong power entity that Ross and friends have to fight and struggle against. But in the actual game, you slap on one strip and he is just gone. Now, I will say though, he's one of my favorite characters design-wise, and I think they did a really good job capturing a lot of the things he does, with the S3 just being this massive apocalypse coming thing, and the mortality also being pretty fitting to him because he actually has an undead army. And he also gets away, right? They never actually kill him. He's always kind of sneaky, he's always getting out, so immortality makes a lot of sense. Also from the undead army standpoint, where he has his own undead army. They don't capture him actually summoning anything, but again, gameplay to lore. In the lore, he's this monster master planner. In the game, it's you sneeze on him with a strip and he's gonna die, right? So again, there's a disconnect, but he used to be very strong in the past, and he really did have that feeling of man, this guy's strong. When he came out, I was like, man, this feels like an acolyte, right? He feels just oof, you just feel his strength. But now, with that, let's actually get to the top 5. So, at number 5, we have none other than Martial Artist Ken. And it's going to start because it's the power level to the actual thing is not as large. But with Martial Artist Ken, he is this interdimensional martial artist that just fights across all these dimensions and fights all these masters and always beats them. He's even wanted by the international police. And that's what we see in the Moonlight storyline with Basar and all of them, that Spirit Tierra is actually after him because she wants to take him back and put him in jail, essentially. But, he's always just going around fighting, getting all this fighting experience, becoming the strongest artist in the world. But in the world of Epic 7, as a bruiser, he doesn't really do much. The S3 definitely feels like it, and he's another hero similar to Kron. When he first came out, and there wasn't any counterattacks, he really did feel like a martial artist. It was oh, you mess up, you're getting counterattack. It was pretty cool, right? Design-wise, the fact that he's this martial artist, and if you hit him wrong, he kind of counterattacks you. That was pretty cool, but now he doesn't feel that way, right? He definitely doesn't feel like this interdimensional martial artist fighter when there's literally a bunch of lollies kind of beating on him. So definitely not to the same level that he is in the story, but it's not that big of a gap, right? And he did used to have that in the past where he actually was pretty strong. So now at number 4, that brings us to none other than Celeste Mercedes. And this is a hero that there's actually a pretty big disconnect between her lore and her actual potential. So in the lore, she's at this, again, another interdimensional. There's a lot of dimensions in Epic 7. All the Chaos Gates. There's even like time travel and reset. There's a lot. The Epic 7 lore is crazy. But as far as Celeste Mercedes, she's this entity that just kind of goes around to different planets and takes the form of other people and just kind of enjoys the cultures, right? Pretty much very cultured one, right? When they first meet her, though, she is kicking butt, right? She can, like, I don't know if it was the actual Fortune Mountains mind controlling or if it was her, but they struggle a lot. Ross, when she had Deech's power, right? He still had part of the power of, like, the goddess. They weren't able to properly deal with Celeste Mercedes. Celeste Mercedes also helped stopping Ceno, which we're going to talk about later, but essentially helped stop an interdimensional being. And she's been a critical part to a lot of the events that happen in the storyline. And even Strasse is a little bit afraid of her. And Strasse is the one that's just killing gods all over the place, right? She's this super strong, interdimensional, powerful entity. And in the game, she just kind of does some AoE damage, right? It doesn't really capture this essence of this interdimensional being that's coming from different planets. They just kind of make her a Mercedes clone, right? Which is a little sad because the lore of her is actually really cool. And she's very strong in the lore, but they just basically made her a Mercedes copy, right? And then I get that she's supposed to be Emma Mercedes and they didn't want to reuse animations, but she doesn't really capture too much of like that super strong interdimensional aspect. But now, at number 3, we have none other than Mort. This is going to have very heavy episode 3 spoilers. But as far as Mort, the big thing is that this guy's build-up makes you think he was going to be the most cracked unit on this planet. And in the actual game, he's not particularly bad. And a lot of these heroes can definitely be used. But it's just like the way they built him up, you thought he was going to be just stomping and being this raging dragon, right? But in the storyline, they show you this maniacal, sinister person who's plotting, who's trying to fight someone he can fight. He only really lost once. He only had one person who he felt could even match up to him. And he's fought several different dragons who are super strong. And his dragon form is the biggest dragon that's out there. So imagine fighting like a massive titan. Like the acolytes were scared of this guy, basically. Imagine fighting this massive titan of a dragon. He can just step on you and kill you, essentially. And super sinister, super evil. The way he died was definitely disappointing, but it basically took the power of the Archdemon and Ross in order to take him down. Because the reason he was injured and Ross was able to take him down is because in the past, Senya was able to harm him, and Senya was using the power of an Acolyte, which again is the power of an Archdemon, right? So it took all of that to be able to take down Mort. So he's this monster of a dragon, and in the actual game, they only show the dragon form for 2 seconds. And it's just so disappointing because this could have been the first transformation unit into like a beast form, right? We have Tama who transformed into like a little like actress and whatever, but can you imagine if Mort had been like a dragon transforming unit, that he could become a dragon like after US3s if he became a dragon for like 2 turns or something, and he could like spew fire and all this stuff. He would just feel so much stronger, even if he wasn't particularly stronger kit wise. But even the kit, it just doesn't match up. He just kind of pokes you with his spear, versus in the story, he's just this monstrosity of a master spearman and a super fearsome dragon. But that is going to bring us to number 2, who is going to be none other than Sinful Angelica, who's part of the summer storyline with Holiday Youthine. We find out that Sinful Angelica is the second part of the entity that combines both Angelica and Sinful Angelica and would make Angel and Angelica, right? And Angel and Angelica definitely feels like this world-ending god. But on the other hand, Sinful Angelica doesn't quite feel her. Is she a good unit? Yes, but she mostly just buffs. When she's supposed to be this thing that's like a destructive force, where like Angelica is like the healing force, Sinful Angelica is supposed to be this destroying form. When she came out, she was basically spewing this mist that just untouched was killing people and like harming them, right? Super, super scary stuff. No way all these people were able to take her down. They had to reseal her, essentially. That's how strong and scary of an entity Sinful Angelica is, right? And she essentially, it's mentioned that when they combine, they are stronger than Deech, who's the god of Orbis, where all the stories take place, right? So when Angelica and Sinful Angelica become Angel and Angelica, they're stronger than literally gods, right? So you have half that power, and in the game, you're just the buffer, right? They did a really good job, though, as far as the sign, because the S3 definitely feels that way. You're definitely like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. You're like, oh yeah, this unit gonna slap. And then she just kind of does a buff. But the S3 animation definitely captures the essence. The S2, The fact that you can't revive also captures the essence. But then the S1, like what her whole role is, she's more of a support rather than being this like this killer type thing, debuffer. I don't know. They definitely could have done more in her kit and just made her a little bit more. But again, she's okay. She's not a bad unit, right? She's definitely usable. But that is going to bring us to the number 1, and this one is just completely disappointing. And I feel like Smiley forgot this guy existed, probably because it's a free 5-star. So lastly, we have none other than Ceno, and Ceno is essentially this interdimensional. Again, there's so many interdimensional beings that is super powerful. Wants to transcend eventually to godhood. It took Ross, it took the Guilty Gear characters, and it took Celeste Mercedes to actually take him out in the Guilty Gear storyline. And in the game, he does nothing, right? He has like literally armies of beasts that can devour planets. He has like this super amazing power. He's almost basically immortal. And then in the game, he just pokes you with some sticks, basically lands any debuffs, and really doesn't do anything, right? The Dimensions again do a good job of making him feel like this super mage, but it's just the power level so low that you don't feel the grandiousness of what this guy's supposed to be. So that is going to be it for the top 5. Hopefully y'all enjoyed and had a little bit of fun, because I definitely did. But that's all I have for you guys today, and I will see you next time. Peace.